Just waiting for my slides, please hold. But while the slides are kind of pulling up, while the slides are pulling up, I think one of the common threads that you're gonna see is data, a lot of go with your gut, as it relates to, who you're going to be marketing to and who your target audience is, what your packaging looks like. Now I'm up here to kind of talk through what it means to sell to your wine club membership and really drive your DTC success. So my name is Lindsey Jessup. I'm the Senior Director of Consumer Engagement for Foley Family Wines, an overarching company, Foley Food and Wine Society. So really what that means is that I am the needle in the thread that takes the brand and weaves in the storyline and weaves in the experiences to produce, wine club conversions, right? Conversion to membership, getting that consumer engagement up and ultimately driving that brand loyalty and ultimately DTC success. So I'm gonna go over a few different slides today, starting with one of my favorite that I get the most feedback on, so just bear with me. Come on.
The little green arrow up higher.
This guy.
No. This guy here.
Oh, thank you. Got it. The consumer funnel. So really when we look at, who your target audience is, right, through market research, and you have your label all designed and it's great, how are we yes, the consumer funnel. How are we getting those people into our consumer funnel? And what are those touch points that consumers first see, experience, or taste our brand, right? And we look at a few things. So we look at, at your guest experience center. So kind of moving back pre-COVID and around 2019, internally, our organization took a different approach to looking at how we transact with new customers and members alike. So we took the term tasting room. Well, okay, people come in there to taste, but tasting is a transaction that happens on a bigger vineyard and brand level. So we kind of switched our vernacular internally to call it a guest experience center. That guest is coming to your site to experience your brand, your wine, and your people are bringing that to life. And that tasting is a transaction of that, and hopefully with an outcome of membership. The second touch point we have down there is events. So I know a lot of us here in the Central Coast that really lean into direct-to-consumer, who have a smaller brand presence, mid-tier, or even large brand presence. We go to a lot of events where we pour our wines, right? And so getting that consumer data, or even getting a taste of our product out there, or even if the brand label is, so appealing, that consumer is gonna come to your table where you get to tell the story. Another one is your website or social media. Right, so we get a lot of, if people are using, Google AdWords, if they're doing paid advertising, social media push, influencer marketing, things like that, they're actually coming to you from that kind of digital source. So this is where we see the three biggest buckets of our consumer touch points to get them into the funnel, right? So hopefully, we all cross our fingers for that magical moment where that consumer becomes very interested in the brand and comes out the other end, hopefully into a membership, or at least that second touch point, which is from an event to a website or to talk, or from wholesale, looking at the label, going into your guest experience center, or that guest experience center signing up for that membership, right? So this is how we kind of look at those consumer touch points with a weird funnel, but I really like it. So the Modern Wine Club membership, it is more than just a shipment. So for years and years and years, we've always looked at that wine club membership as a sales tactic, right? It's a transaction with them. They get their 3 bottles, once a quarter. It's money in the bank. It's great. They love our wines. Well, now post-COVID, what consumers are looking for is more from us. More from us as a vineyard, more from us, as a winery, more from us as a brand, because they actually do their research and they fall in love with what we are about. We look at this, the wine industry, it's very emotive. Why do people bring wine to the table? It's a gathering point. We have a lot of data to back this up, but it all comes down to this feeling, right, that we give our customers. So we can take the data, then we interpret it into this storytelling to make people fall in love with us and to share with their family and friends at a table, at a gathering point, over a book, sitting by the fireplace and it's winter and you're reading a book with a glass of wine, or whatever marketing tool you have for that, right? We sell experiences and emotional outcomes to people via wine. Well, that's how I look at it anyway. So let's see, shipments are the thing that happens after we build this relationship. So now what? We turn up that member engagement, right? So we talk to our members a certain way. We talk to them through their inserts in their shipments. We talk to them through the e-blast that we put out. We talk to them via segmented marketing that they told us that they want to hear from us. So how are we really building that brand story, that content, that messaging to keep them in that funnel outcome? So plant your stake in the ground. What are your wines all about? What is your story all about? What is your messaging all about? Because it's really about keeping them into the fold with you as a brand, you as a wine, you with your story. So authenticity, authenticity, authenticity. One thing is that consumers are doing the research. Consumers know what they want to buy into. From Marianne's research, they know what they actually have that, touchstone with. So are we being authentic with our brand story? Are we trying to be something we're not? But if we want to be that thing, then let's go do it, and let's do it in a real way. Because consumers can do the research to see if you are doing it in the real way, and if they want to really kind of lump onto that. If that is that touchstone that's like, that is a brand that I want to buy, whether it's flavor profile, price point, donation to wildlife and COVID relief, that, half a percentage point or whatever that is. Make sure it's authentic to your brand, to your winery, to your ownership, to you if you're, in that guest experience center. So yeah, I always say this. So I take data and I turn it into stories and experiences, right? So I have the data tell me the story to kind of weave in these experiences that our consumers want to see. But it's about relationship building. We are in a relationship with our membership. It is not just a transaction point anymore in this post-COVID world. They want a little more from us. So what does that mean? So sharing and collecting experiences is the research that we have done. So I just got back from this big director's retreat internally, and we talked a lot about these emotional outcomes driving loyalty, right? So I have data on the next slide, so I wish I kind of reversed it now in hindsight, but we're just going to go with this. But sharing and collecting experiences, why people that we see come back to us at some of our larger brands, some of our smaller brands, some of our brands that just have a few Adirondack chairs in the front, is they want to collect and share the experience that they're getting with you, whether it's at your guest experience center, online, they're sharing it on their social media, or they're bringing it to a friend's house or a party. Usually wine with our customers, I can speak from our experience and our data from our surveys, is that people share our product and they want to be empowered to share a little more and be the subject matter expert kind of on your product, right? They want to be empowered to tell their friends about, what you've sold them. Okay, take your members on the journey they choose to be on with you. So again, with consumer buying trends and why they buy and where they buy, what do they want to hear from you, right? So what is that consumer journey they want to be on with your brand? So probably like you, we have this bell curve of who's buying, which brand, or we have, millennials, we have Gen Z, we have boomers, all this kind of stuff. We skew a little higher, so we're very much, Gen X boomers, heavy, a little bit of that millennial. But where do they want to see us? Do they want to see us in market? Do they want to see us at the guest experience center? Do they only want to see us online and shipping to and not touch us at all, but they want to really engage with us just via that shipment that comes? So do I have the right mix of offerings where my membership can actually engage with me in the way that they want to be engaged with? So this is one of my favorite. You can drive sales, but you must earn the customer's loyalty for long-term success. If the customer feels they are a number in a database, or you're trying to strong sales or strong upsell them, it kind of feels icky. So again, I kind of wish these slides were in a different order, but it's about staff training at that point. So how do we build an authentic program that is an inherent upsell or that is an inherent benefit, right? Not this big heavy-handed, to actually drive this comfortability with that auto shipment, with that auto upsell, with that I got my complimentary tasting, but I also would like to take 6 bottles home. How do we empower our team to soft sell into loyalty? And that's through trust building, right? So, knowing your member's name when they walk in, or in your email, it's not hi friend, it's, hi Jane. Or speaking in the tone of voice that is comfortable to your membership, that goes back to your brand authenticity. Let the data tell the story. Maybe I did put it on the right slide. Survey and see. So one thing that we did deploy pre-COVID, mid-COVID, and kind of in this weird kind of post-COVID environment are membership surveys. And we didn't do it, so us at Foley Family Wines, we have, XYZ multiple wine clubs per brand, different channels and also different tiers, right? But we looked at each brand individually and our membership makeup. And we tailored a survey to speak directly to that member to give us, what they wanted to see. Was our mix right? What did they feel comfortable? So in a pre-COVID environment, it's like, what do you want to hear from us? Do you want to hear about events? Do you want to hear about, winemaker stories? Do you want to hear about trials and tribulations in the vineyard or whatever it was? Mid-COVID, it's, do you feel comfortable coming to our site? Would you even come to a site? Would you like to be indoors or outdoors? Would you like to, if you're not coming indoors and outdoors, would you automatically upgrade your shipment from 3 bottles to 6 bottles, right? Really assessing their comfortability in this kind of ever-changing world. And then post-COVID, we did the same thing. Did you feel comfortable coming to our sites? Did we have the right makeup? Do you feel XYZ with us? So it's really kind of collecting that. So it's data points from feeling. So I just want to kind of make that clear. So it's kind of this art and science that I think both other panelists spoke to, which is very important. Give the people what they want. I think sometimes we look at, as, early on in my career, looking at wine club members or consumers or trade guests through my own lens, right? Let's call it like the Lindsey lens, right? So I know that they want to see this. I know they want to do this, and this is really cool to me. That's youth talking. And we have a little patina on that. So now it's, what do they want to see? So ask them. So one thing, me standing up here speaking on behalf of our brands, I really wanted to talk about scale, right? So we have a lot of wineries within the Central Coast that are under 1,000 cases, under 5,000 cases, under 10,000 cases. And I really want to land the point as we begin to talk about building experiences or building auxiliary offerings for a membership to drive loyalty, to drive long-term DTC success is, sorry, my slide went blank. There we go. It's not the power of the dollar you spend, it's the power of the connection you and your team make with that member. So a lot of times, people think, oh, I have to spend a lot of money to really engage my member. So-and-so down the street has this brand new shiny thing. But if your story is authentic, and if that little giveaway or that little upsell or that little offering that you even charge your members for, but you really look at your COGS and margin and you can kind of tool that discount or that pricing to make it appealing to them, but also, not hemorrhage it out the back end. It's not about the dollar. It's about how you're making your customer feel by those little things. I looked at one, we take data and we take all this feeling and we, deploy tactics against it, and then we have, results of the outcome. And one very small thing that we did, we started putting welcome table tents with the member's name on their reserved table. That little thing was so Instagrammable that drove new traffic to get new consumers into that weird Fargo funnel that I presented that drove, ultimately conversion to membership. So it's not this expensive proposition where I have to build, this $500,000 thing. It's about those little things that drive that consumer connection to you. They thought about me. I'm special to them. I'm not that number in a CRM, in a database. Let's see. This is so important. So when we talk about data, we talk about building programming, but we need to talk about our people. This is the huge part. Us as ownership, us as senior leaders, it all disseminates down to the people who are the front lines of your brand, right? Of your winery, of your experiences. So your membership program is only as good as the people selling and deploying it. I see, managers, directors, ownership. I see a lot of different types of people in the room, but it comes down to that frontline person who is selling, who is engaging, who is converting to membership or hosting your membership that is so important for building this kind of membership loyalty and long-term DTC success. Training, 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 right? It's at those Saturday stand-ups. It's getting your wine club concierge, buddied up with your tasting room lead, that's buddied up with your social media coordinator, that's buddied up with this, that, and the other, right? So it's every little cog in the machine is important at this point to help drive that long-term success. Each one of those people is important because they are engaging with your consumer at their entry level or long-term loyalty touch point to your brand. Creating experiences, right? So solicit feedback from the people on the front lines. You're the person just managing your social media, the person managing the back end of your website. What page was visited the most, right? Is the content I'm generating, is the SKU mix that I'm presenting, is the experiences I'm building, are you getting anecdotal feedback from those, right? It's not about a once every 2-year survey. It's also about the anecdotal feedback you're getting. If anyone deploys reservation systems here, like Talk, Resi, things like that, you can actually do a post-visit survey, right? And if you have this kind of consumer score, this 1 through 5 at the end, or 1 through 10, or whatever you define success as, you can actually incentivize your team based upon an average score to deliver a better experience, because those surveys can come back to you and you can actually read it. How was your experience in your members lounge or your members tasting or this and that and the other? I put tiering for success, tiering for success on here. So I believe a lot of us have different tiers of entry into our membership programs: 2 bottles, 3 bottles, 6 bottles, 12 bottles, biannually, quarterly, subscription monthly. That's very popular right now. But looking at, I always look at it not by bottle, but kind of that average shipment value or average order value. The person taking the $56, membership is different than the one that is taking that $400 shipment, right? So what we've done is kind of tiered our benefits program. I always call them access and accelerators, right? So, if you're in that 2-bottle club, great. But also, if you're in that 6-bottle club, look what else you get. So those accelerators and access. So we are selling access to our brands, to our winemakers, to the experiences that we're building through this. So giving people really, aspirational things to buy into with just taking home a few more bottles with them. And that's kind of the story we have to tell as well. Most of us in the room drink more than 2 bottles of wine a month. So how are we weaving together a story to get the consumer to take more bottles home? Are we, suggestive selling by, recipes, by dinners, by this, that, and the other, whatever it means to your brand, making sure to build and get that message out to those consumers so they actually want to buy more from you. It's a lot easier than you think. If you soft sell and ask for it, some of the times they'll actually upgrade. Building experiences for membership conversion and retention. This is something that I actively do. This is something I'm passionate about, looking at data, building experiences, but really looking at, aspirationally what people want to be a part of. We see a lot of this, day trippers. People aren't flying a lot of places right now. I mean, I'm talking the very recent future or the recent past of, hiking gas prices. People are maybe doing more day trips than flights places, going from LA to Santa Barbara County, not LA to Napa Valley, things like that. We've seen that trend for a little bit, but it's really starting to kind of accelerate now. So we're building these experiences for the customers coming to us that are kind of aspirational, they're taking pictures, they want to share it with friends, this is really cool. People are also seeking a lot of like food and wine elements, but if we're not permitted to serve food and wine, do we have the right mix of dry goods in the merch inventory to kind of tell the story? Oh my gosh, I make Cabernet. I have these really great Lay's potato chips, or not Lay's, but whatever tier your brand's at. You can have the fancy wine country potato chips, but fat and salt are tannin slayers. See how you could take this Cabernet, take a little bite of the chip, slays the tannin, it's awesome. Or maybe it's like a free bowl of potato chips or salted popcorn or whatever that is to drive purchasing. And what else has salt and fat? That steak you're gonna make later, this weekend with your friends and family at home. Oh, the roast at Thanksgiving. This Cabernet would go great with that because of this chip, right? Or whatever it is. All the way up to, the Velvet Rope Wine Club Lounge. We have a few of these that I'll show in my next slide. But, building the FOMO. I think it's actually on this. Did I put FOMO on here? Maybe I took that off. Well, I took it off. But building that emotional want, right? So people are very much driven by their emotional responses to things. And if it looks really cool over there, tell me how I can get over there. Well, it's through a 6-bottle membership. Oh, well, you have your complimentary flight as a 3-bottle member. Well, you get access to that as a 6-bottle member. So it's not saying you need to sign up for this. It's giving them almost this nonverbal cue for upgrading or opting into it, right? And it doesn't take a lot of funds to do that. It's a few chairs and actually like a rope. We got some of these kind of braided stanchions for certain areas at certain more of a rustic properties, and that was a $50 proposition. But it drove what's over there, right? It's almost like staging a movie set, right? Kind of the same thing. I have spaces, I'm gonna stage it for my customers, emotional response when they come into my space. Hold on, I went, oops. Almost done with this one. Let's see. Let's give them something to talk about. So incentivizing members to share and refer family and friends connections into membership. So we do this a lot of different ways because people have different motivators, right? Some people are motivated by loyalty points. Like looking at the Bonvoy Marriott, right? Like I love to collect my points and then cash them all in. Some people are motivated by the free things in life, like, oh, the giveaway. I really want to attend this or do this so I get that free thing, right? But what we see a lot is incentivizing members to share. So share on social media, share in the digital space, fine. Incentivizing them with like 5% discount. But it's also incentivizing them to refer family and friends and colleagues into a membership program. We've seen some success with this, with be employee for a day, or certain types of, depending on your COGS and margin, what that discount is, or access to a winemaker, access to ownership, access to the thing. If you come to an event and your friend or family or your guest signs up for membership, you guys get to go into the VIP lounge at the event, or you'll actually get a one-time access to this winemaker dinner that we're doing, or XYZ, right? People are motivated by different things, and asking the questions to your current membership can give you some, guardrails on where to go to motivate them to start referring friends and family into your membership program. We also see this with corporate gifting. I don't know, this is not a new thing in our industry, but it's kind of this kind of auxiliary thing. Lots of corporate gifting, holiday gifting, catalogs going out. We saw this a lot during COVID when we switched to our virtual tastings, virtual engagement, doing food and wine pairings virtually. But it's referring people into purchasing those and then getting something kind of almost like a spiff on the back end or something. But it's additional discounts, access to things, but we did see some success with the corporate gifting referral program. So, if you have this company and another company was referred by you, it was XYZ on this, or it was a discount on shipping or something like that. But really kind of driving, it's putting programs in front of people to react to. We all hope they have a positive reaction that results in a transaction, right? That's the goal here, I think. Member loyalty equals success. So we just have to give them a reason to stay, right? So whatever, again, through the surveys, through anecdotal feedback, through staff feedback, through sales feedback, right? The most basic tool we have is looking at our registers and, run rates, annual run rates, things that have, COGS margin. We have all the data, but how does that data tell us the story to give our membership a reason to stay in that consumer funnel? So now kind of the fun part, if you build it, they will come. This is the part that I actively deploy for us. So these are a few of our most popular membership experiences. These are in all different regions, and they are at all different price points. So we have some of our higher price points down to some of our lower price points. But it's just access, right? So it's opting into, at Chalk Hill, up north, only members can purchase into fried chicken and caviar experience or the Hummer tour and tasting with our organic garden bites, because we have 4 acres of organically farmed sustainable gardens on site, right? And that's a membership access experience. So if you are not a member, you cannot purchase these experiences. So am I losing money doing this? No. Am I providing that proverbial velvet rope to these experiences? Yes. That is the access/accelerator with membership. For Icarano, tulip planting. This is one that I think is very applicable here in the Central Coast. The brand, they were very known for, one of their original owners loved tulips. They planted tulip bulbs. And what we deployed is that having a tulip bulb planting party for our highest tier Circle of Friends membership. And then we would invite them out to come to a tulip cutting party. So they got, their safety, here's your waiver, here's your safety equipment, and they got to cut their bundle of tulips that they got to saw grow through the seasons. So it was a reason to return to the property, which had them leaving with wine, which had them coming back to purchase, and then cut their flowers, et cetera, et cetera. That was some tulip bulbs. Let's see, Lancaster to get into the cave with the library experiences membership. Lynn Court, Life of Leisure at Lynn Court, we have, that's down in kind of that Solvang area. We have a membership-only area with little Adirondacks and these pop-up umbrellas that are specifically reserved for members. So some of us have these very high-volume areas, so kind of high-volume guest experience centers where it's tons of walk-ins and, how do we save space for our membership? We reserve everything for membership. How do we get new walk-ins? Kind of this whole song and dance that we do around that area of opportunity. So we've carved out just a space that's reserved for member walk-ins. We can accommodate, new guest walk-ins. We can accommodate member reservations, but we always want to have that little spot where members can walk in. Firestone Vineyard, we have, again, with that twisty rope, we just reserved our lower terrace experience for members only. It's the best view on the property. It was open for anyone to sit down there. We just shifted it to members only, and we saw our membership increase because people wanted to get down to where the good view was. And all it took was a programming change and a $50 rope. That's about it. Oh, and the society, so we just opened a new guest experience center, food and wine experience center down at the Hotel Californian, and we actually do a program out of there, which was kind of grandfathered in from another tasting or guest experience center that we had, which is where we had this, we have this harbor cruise, and only at the highest tier of membership could purchase into that harbor cruise. And again, it wasn't free, it was purchasing into, but we sold access to it. So kind of in short, I have, I think I'm out of time, but in short, it is really kind of about this membership retention through loyalty and building rich experiences for your members that they really want. And so with that, we are